In America, everyone has this thing called a social security number. It's a number you need for pretty much everything. Theoretically, if someone got a hold of your number, they could do all that and rack up debt in your name. It's a bad situation, but can usually get figured out pretty quickly. However, what happens when 40,000 people get a hold of your number? Well, today, we find out. The Social Security number was originally created back in the 30s for the sole purpose of tracking the history of someone's earnings. Depending on how much you earned, part of your paycheck would be taken and you'd receive Social Security checks later in life when you could no longer work. And that's it. The newly formed Social Security Agency needed to get these numbers to dozens of millions of Americans. So they had employers distribute applications, employees would fill them out, and the forms would be returned to the agency. From there, you'd be assigned a number, which would be printed on a card and returned to you. This is the Social Security card. The card that your parents gave to you and said, never, ever lose this. Or if they haven't, they will eventually. I hope. Well, back when this program first started, not much could actually be done with your number. If someone stole it, really the worst they could do is pay in for Social Security incorrectly with your number, which really means more money for you in retirement and nothing for them. In fact, these numbers meant so little, there was even a TV show back in the 50s called
I've Got a Secret,
and someone named Grace Muzzy went on it to reveal that she had the first Social Security number ever. That's right, she just said it out loud to millions of people, and nothing bad happened. But we're getting off track. This is where the E.H. Faree Company comes in. They were a wallet manufacturer based in Lockport, New York. They had just released a new wallet design that could hold your newly issued Social Security card. The company's vice president, Douglas Patterson, thought it would be a good idea to include a sample card with the wallet for marketing purposes. Now, Douglas wanted the card to look close to the real thing so people knew what they were looking at, but also wanted to make it very clear that this was not an actual Social Security card. So the card was printed with red ink, had the word specimen printed on it, and to top it off, it was half the size of a real thing. But it was missing something, the number. It can't be a Social Security card without a Social Security number. Rather than think up a fake number, he decided to use his secretary's, Hilda Whitcher. That's right, he printed her real Social Security number on thousands of cards sold inside thousands of wallets. Best of all, he didn't even get her permission. But since the number's only real purpose is for paying your share for those retirement checks later in life, nobody's gonna steal it, right? Well, not on purpose. Many people who purchase the wallet also assume that they purchased the card, meaning they would begin using this number at their place of employment to report their earnings, because they thought it was theirs. When Social Security cards first came out, they were about as confusing as trying to teach your grandma how to work her computer. So, just 5 years after the wallet was produced, almost 6,000 people were incorrectly using Hilda's number. It got so bad that the FBI eventually knocked on Hilda's door and interrogated her about why so many people were using her number. Hilda told them the whole story, and the Social Security Agency voided her number and gave her a new one. But that didn't stop people from using the old one. The best the agency could do was make a statement not to use the number and hoped people would listen. This was long before modern computing, so they didn't have some sort of computer system to help track down who was still using it. In total, over 40,000 people used Hilda's old number, and almost 20 years later, in 1977, it was reported that 12 people were still using it. Had nobody ever figured out that thousands of people were using her number, she would have quickly become a millionaire after retirement. But that obviously never happened. Instead, I think a good way to sum up this story is with a quote from Hilda herself. They started using the number. They thought it was their own. I can't understand how people can be so stupid. I can't understand that.